Welcome to Your Number Man, where we share financial strategies, business insights, and inspiring stories to help you navigate a successful business. I am your host, Johan Czanik, and my goal is to help you achieve a bigger life in business. Here we go for another episode of Your Number Man. Today we are diving into the world of intellectual property with our expert guest, Liz Holland-Clarke. Now, Liz is a lawyer and trademark attorney. Liz has obtained a law degree in Sydney and trademark qualifications through IP Australia. Liz has also worked as a legal practitioner and trademark attorney in New South Wales, WA, South Australia, and Victoria. Now, Liz specializes in intellectual property and commercial law and has a broad range of experience in the biotechnology, health and medical research, defense, agricultural, food, equine, and computer software industries. In 2011, Liz started her own legal practice specializing in commercial law and intellectual property, including copyright, and has helped clients achieve the registration and protection of their trademarks in Australia, New Zealand, China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. Liz, that's a little bit of a mouthful. Today we're going to be a little bit technical, but welcome to Your Number Man.
Thanks very much, Johan. Great to speak with you.
I guess we got a bit of a disclaimer here today because you will share some valuable insights with us today. But please keep in mind that the content provided in this podcast is for information purposes only and should not be considered as legal advice. I strongly recommend that you consult either with Liz offline on your own or another qualified legal professional before making any legal decisions and choices that relates to our discussion today.
Absolutely.
Okay, Liz, could we start by you giving us a quick overview of intellectual property and explain why it is such a critical area for businesses?
Yes, absolutely, Johan. Intellectual property is an area of law which deals with patents, trademarks, designs, copyright, and their protection where all except copyright can be protected by a successful application through IP Australia. For example, most businesses create a brand generally made up of words with or without a logo for the purpose of identifying their business, which they use as a marketing tool on their website, business cards, brochures, and in advertising material. So a trademark is really the face of your business.
Okay. You sometimes hear about people saying they're protected because they got a domain, they got a website as well. But I guess that is perhaps putting the cart in front of the horses because a lot of people are not making sure exactly for IP Australia, has that trademark or that business name actually been taken? Am I right?
Correct, yes.
Now, could you clarify the difference between registering a business name with ASIC and register a trademark or a business name with IP Australia?
As you're aware, registering a company, business or domain name or URL does not protect your trademark. It does not automatically give you any proprietary rights to use a brand as a trademark. So the only way registering a company or business name provides a business with a company number, an ACN, or a business number, ABN, mainly for tax purposes. It must be noted that whilst a company is a legal entity, a business name is not. If the owner of a business has not formed a company, then they would in most cases be regarded as a sole trader. The business name would be registered under the owner's name with the ABN as the legal entity. And a registered trademark, which is registered through IP Australia, is what protects your branding. Nothing else will. You do have some protection of a trademark under common law, but the issue with that is if you have to take someone to court on the basis of common law and prior rights where you've been in business for at least 5 to 10 years, then it's going to cost you a lot more to protect yourself and protect your branding. Whereas if you have a registered trademark, you have protection under the Trademarks Act.
Okay, now that makes perfectly sense. And you mentioned common law as well, because you would assume that you can fight something in court. If I've got a fish and chip shop and I call it Get Hooked, and I've been operating it and I've got a website and everything, and I've do it for 10 years, and I've never registered my name, another person comes along and says, hooked on Soul or something similar. He just registered a name and he comes back to me and say, okay, there's a bit of conflict. Have I got any rights? The fact that I've been operating it for 10 years and this person takes the right procedure and registers through IP Australia.
Are you protected? Only under common law.
Okay.
On the basis of prior use. And if you are aware of that subsequent person attempting to register the same trademark with IP Australia, you can object during what they call the opposition phase, which is about 6, 7, 8 months down the track of a trademark registration. And you have 2 months within which you can file an objection to that trademark being registered. That involves costs. So it's always better to be ahead of the game.
Yes.
And register your own trademark. The examiner, when they go through trademark and they find someone else comes along at a later date to protect their branding, will object to the registration of it based on prior trademark registrations.
Yes, that makes sense. So it is possible that you can perhaps defend something like that, but you probably don't want to go through the whole thing and it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah, right.
It could have been prevented from the start.
If you follow procedure and do things in the correct order, you're going to save yourself a lot of money at the end of the day. A lot of people will try and do things on their own and then they mess it up and then come to a trademark attorney or a lawyer experienced in intellectual property. The horse is already bolted, and there are sometimes ways of getting around it and being able to seek acceptance or obtain acceptance from an examiner. But more often than not, it's very difficult to rectify once you've gone down that track.
So am I right to say if you want exclusive rights to your business name, you should actually protect it by registering a trademark through IP Australia? That will protect your business' unique brand, products or services and stop competitors from infringing on your trademark and trading with it.
Yes, obviously the best way of protecting your trademark is by registering it through IP Australia. It will prevent traders from infringing your trademark if they're aware of the value and protection of trademarks. However, where another trader does infringe your trademark, you can enlist a trademark attorney or lawyer with intellectual property experience to issue a cease and desist letter. And if not successful, it wouldn't be necessary to take the infringing party to court.
So if my trademark is protected in Australia, can I also make sure that it's going to be protected in other countries around the world?
You have a registered trademark in Australia. It will not cover you in overseas countries. You have to file a separate application in each country in which you wish to obtain protection for that branding. Intellectual property is essentially an international law. However, there are some procedural differences in some countries, for example, US and China, which have their own ways of doing things, but essentially they follow the international law. The other issue is that with some countries, an Australian attorney is not permitted to file the application. You have to have an attorney in the country in which you want to file the application, and that varies from country to country.
Now, it makes sense, even if you've got to work with another attorney in another country, to have somebody on your side that understands the law a little bit better, because I'm a numbers man. Don't ask me about law stuff. And it's probably better I just focus on my numbers and growing the business and then get somebody else in like you that can negotiate. Now, Liz, what makes a trademark very effective and strong, particularly for us in small business?
Basically, a good trademark is one which is distinctive and it's different from other trademarks in your particular industry. It's one that stands out and is memorable in people's minds. For example, I think it's in the Barossa, and it's for the trademark bevies, and it's got 4 different styles of glasses: a wine glass, a soft drink glass, a champagne glass, and a beer glass. So it's quite distinctive from a lot of other brands. And that trademark is registered for beer in Class 32 and wines in Class 33. And there's another one, Top Note, for wines in Class 33. And Cellar also of wine in Class 35. And that's also a protected trademark, and it's got a musical note with some vine stems and leaves, and it's distinctive. So it's memorable in people's minds. And if you're wanting to promote your business, then having something that is distinctive and different is going to be easily remembered.
Yeah, it obviously comes back a lot to your marketing, your branding, and making sure with somebody like you, how do you actually protect that, like you say, a musical note or being accounted for, if you got like some sort of dollar sign into your trademark. What steps should a business take before starting a trademark application? Can I myself perhaps save a bit of cost by going and do a little bit of research myself?
I find that it's really important to conduct searches of IP Australia's trademark database to ensure you're not going to infringe another trader's trademark. I also conduct ABN and ASIC and Google searches so that businesses who haven't protected their brands via a trademark application and registration may have been using it under common law rights for many years and have prior use. If they discover that you filed a trademark application for a brand which is the same or deceptively similar, you may be at the end of a legal action. So I just think it's a lot faster and less messy if you can avoid that sort of situation. And I also look at the classes as well. For example, there's somebody else that has the same or a deceptively similar name in the same class, but they're in the software industry where you might be in dentistry or medical industry. It's entirely different.
Okay.
But if you are filed in the same classes, even though you're in a different industry, that's going to cause problems and you're likely not to have your trademark accepted. So I always do searches, even though it might cost a little bit, it saves you time and money in the long run. As far as this is concerned, you might often find a brand which has a capital TM next to it. That just means that you use that brand as a trademark. It does not provide you with any rights. It does not indicate that it's registered. The only way you can indicate that your brand is registered is if you apply the capital R in a circle.
Okay.
And that then indicates that your trademark is registered. However, it's really important to understand that you cannot, and it is actually an offence under the Trademarks Act to use the R symbol until your trademark is actually registered.
Okay. And what about a little TM symbol as well?
That just tells you that you use that as a trademark, but it's not a registered trademark.
So the R means it's registered, and I can come up with any name and just put TM there, whether it's registered or not registered.
No, it's not registered. It just indicates you use it as a trademark.
Oh. But somebody else can go and grab that name and register it. Again, you got to be protected, don't you?
Indeed, you do.
Yeah. So we spoke about the protection, but specifically, how do you believe working with a skilled attorney streamlined the process of trademark registration? And in your view, what value does it add, Liz?
A trademark attorney or an intellectual property lawyer has many years of experience in conducting searches, for starters, drafting the description of goods and services. In the wine industry, some people just register their trademark for wine and nothing else. And it doesn't allow for you to expand your business because a trademark, the life of a trademark, of course, is for 10 years. If you want to expand your business, you would have to file a new application. A trademark attorney can help you with that. Also, the attorney can help you with the most appropriate way to submit a trademark application or Head Start request, and also addressing issues which might be raised by the examiner, including trademark process and timelines which must be adhered to.
No, that makes sense. And everything costs money. If you buy a car, it costs money. If you use an accountant, it costs money. If you use an attorney, it costs money. But at the end of the day, it can save you a lot of hassles in the future.
And the thing is, if you've got a plumbing issue in your house, you're far better off getting a plumber than ending up with water everywhere.
Yeah, I'm a bit like Mr. Bean when it comes to that kind of stuff. I think I'm going to take an hour, but it takes me a whole weekend to fix a bloody tap. I thought, geez, I could have just phoned a plumber. And the same goes with an attorney. I've spent some days going through the IP stuff as well. Liz, some business owners might see IP protection as just another cost. How do you explain the value it provides in protecting a business' unique identity?
I guess business owners need to ask themselves, what's the value they place on their business and the goods and services their trademark is applied to? They need to consider what the cost would be if they had to rebrand, if they find they are infringing another trader's registered trademark, or if they've got to try and defend themselves if they're not registered. Common law rights will only, as I said before, provide you with so much protection And it's going to be really costly if you have to go through the court system to prove that you have prior rights to somebody else and prior use. And the other part of that is that you've got to establish that you are a bona fide business, that you've developed a reputation in your industry and you're well known. You need to have been in business for at least 5 to 10 years. Now, if you're not able to do that, then your branding, which isn't protected as a trademark, is going to be at jeopardy. So if you're just starting a business and you want a trademark, then get in and protect it right up front, because it just saves you hassle down the track.
Okay, that's actually good that you've brought that point together, because I'm preparing some sort of manual as well, what to tell the startup businesses as well. Make sure that we're ticking all the boxes. And one of the things I tell people is make sure about your budget. Think about all the kind of costs that you're going to incur. And I think what we should tell people is make sure that included in your startup budget, your brand name and your trademark registration cost as well. Have you got some sort of ballpark figure? What can I tell people? Budget $2,000?
It depends on the trademark attorney that you speak with, because everybody charges differently. And also the fees are going to depend on the type of work you're going to have to do. Sometimes you might not have to do some things, but you have to do others. Sometimes you have to do everything. The fee has to be provided by the attorney you're seeking advice from. It's just not one size fits all.
Yeah, if I phone you, say, Liz, I'm about to start a business. I want to get a fish and chip shop and I want to register. You can give me an idea what kind of procedure is involved and what kind of fees I'm looking at.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I have an inquiry from a potential client, I will send them a letter of advice which sets out the process and the fees. I will have already discussed with them what their type of business is and what they intend to do, whether they provide services or sell goods. The goods have to be made or created themselves. If you're merely selling goods like mechanical parts from Repco, you don't own those because you haven't manufactured them. They've been manufactured by somebody else and will be protected by the manufacturer's trademark. So it's the process that, in that instance, and the service that you need to protect, not the goods, because you don't own them.
Yeah, that's Liz, we've covered a lot. You start opening a can of worms when you go into all the technicalities. People can get in contact with you if they need a bit more information. Obviously, just to give them an idea what kind of fees they're in for and what kind of procedures they got to look at. There's a lot of stuff.
It's a bit like opening a tin of worms because there's a lot of different factors that need to be considered. I think we've covered the basis of it today. So if people want specific questions answered, I'm happy to answer them. Or if they want to seek advice from an attorney or lawyer that they already deal with, then really the best route to travel.
That's fantastic. Liz, I can't thank you enough for giving up your time and sharing your insights and helping us understand what's involved in terms of trademark and branding. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Liz.
My pleasure, Johan.
That was a great talk today. Protecting your trademarks and business name gives you a lot less to worry about in your business. It will obviously make way to focus on other important stuff. And one of those things is to make sure that you get more clarity in business. Business clarity brings you power. And one way to get it is to make sure that you have a total understanding of your business numbers. Financial clarity is the difference between a price taker or a price maker. It's the difference between breaking even or making profits. Or it could be the difference between running around like a headless chook each day, chasing cash to pay your staff and angry suppliers, or being totally in control of your cash with no worries at all. Wouldn't that just be a treat? Numbers are the language of business. That's a fact, and I can help you to stay on top of your numbers. I will be launching a product early in the new year to do just that. My big review is coming very soon. Please tune in again next week for another discussion that can bring you a little bit closer to living a bigger life in your business. So that's me, Johan Czanik, signing off as your number man. Ciao.